Fearless Fundraisers, I'm Dawn Lego. It's time to buckle up for a new episode of Raise Nation Radio, the one and only podcast made to inspire fundraisers like you to continue making impact in our communities, building better tomorrows, and exchanging ideas. So whether you're a trailblazer or seasoned pro, you'll pick up the trends that transform your fundraising. And together, we'll dive into lively conversations and we'll chat with industry-leading fundraisers and thought leaders to explore hot-button issues and innovative ideas. So stay with us for the next 30 minutes while we inspire you to embrace the future of fundraising. All right, Raise Nation, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us again and making our show such a fan favorite and nominating us, oh my gosh, for the podcast awards. We could not be more grateful and more honored. And we just love having you here. Hey, if you're new to the show, follow us on your favorite podcast channel. We're everywhere. We're also on demand at onecause.com, and we broadcast live from the annual Raise conference. We have such a wonderful community here. And I was going to segue me into our next guest. I always love talking to and listening to nonprofits and having them on the show. It's fascinating to hear about their mission and the impact that they have on our communities and just what they're doing to build better tomorrows. If you could just imagine for a second what we would do if we didn't have nonprofits, well, the world wouldn't be progressing in the right way. Now, today is a little delicate and a little special, and I almost wish that we were meeting under I definitely wish we were meeting under much different circumstances, but nonetheless, please welcome Melinda Sweany, who is the Chief Development Officer, and I'm going to say it, from the Maui Health Foundation. Melinda, aloha. Welcome to Raise Nation Radio.
Aloha, Dawn. Thank you for allowing me to share our story on your podcast.
I do wish it was, I'm so happy to have you on the show, but I do wish it was different circumstances for sure. So I'm going to open with a very heartfelt question. How are you doing? How are your loved ones and, the people that you interact with every day? How's everyone doing? And I mean that sincerely and not just hey, how you doing? Like, how are you doing?
Yes, we are doing okay. I mean, it's every day is difficult because every day we get a new challenge and it's a whirlwind and we get a new request. Just like I was sitting here looking at my text, and one of our caregivers who lost everything texted me and said, I've lost my stethoscope, my, oximeter and blood pressure monitor. And these are the things I brought with me to work every day. Any chance, we can find some here. So it's every day is a new challenge. My husband also is working closely with the community because there's so many displaced. We have 4,000 people here displaced, and we are all scrambling to help our entire community. So it's every day, you have this adrenaline that just kicks in. And this is the second time I have been through this. I was in the Napa fires in 2017. And so I have familiarity with fires, and I just think I get placed in situations because I have experience, but it is emotionally taxing, and you do have to take care of yourself and go for walks or read or go to the beach. You do need to have that time as you're giving, but also to take care of yourself when you can, because you don't want to burn out.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get into all of that and what we're doing and what you need, but I do want our audience to get to know you a little bit more. You mentioned that this is your second disaster that you've been part of, stepping in and trying to help communities recover. So who is Melinda Sweany? Where do you come from? How did you get to Maui Health Foundation? Yes. And let us a little bit into your life, if you don't mind.
Well, when I was young in my 20s, I worked for St. Helena Hospital in the accounting department, and accounting wasn't my thing. I was an English major in college, and I went and looked at the job board when job boards were on pages of paper up on the wall, not online. That's how old I am. And it had a development position, and I'm like, what is development? I went back to the office and somebody explained to me it was fundraising, and I'm like, oh, I can do that. So at the age of 27, I fell into healthcare fundraising, and I have been in it ever since. I worked at St. Helena Hospital for 15 years and Queen of the Valley for almost 10. And then I decided I wanted, our kids are moved out of the house. Our last one graduated from high school, and we thought, let's move somewhere. And I said, I would love to, be the chief development officer. I'm ready for that. I was a director of development for many, many years. And we went on vacation to Maui, and I said to my husband, hey, let's move here. And he said,
let's move here. Oh my gosh.
Find a job and we will move there. And the one and only job that exists, because there's only one acute care hospital on Maui, opened up 2 months after we were there. And it was seamless. I mean, it was a seamless interview transition. They hired me. They moved us. Meant to be. So that's how we got here. So it's been almost 5 years coming up in September. So
basically don't challenge you to do anything like get a job, or because you're going to do it, right?
I'm going to do it, right.
You're going to do it. Wow. Yes. Well, so I can't imagine that anybody doesn't know what happened, but let's just review for a second, because hundreds, more than 100 lives have been lost. What happened in Maui? How did, we don't have to go into the how or all of that stuff. We're not going to talk about that. We want to talk about how we're going to recover. But August 8th, right? Take us back. What happened? What was going on that day? Not a great day.
Not a great day. We had a fire in Lahaina that was contained. I don't think anybody realized that the hurricane or the tropical storm that was 700 miles off of Maui was going to produce the winds it produced. And so, I mean, honestly, I didn't think it was going to. There wasn't many, statewide, there wasn't many, much concern, like go prepare, get water, that type of thing, because it was so far away from us. But the winds were unbelievable. And I think that what happened, and I don't know, I'm not
recipe for disaster.
I don't know. I mean, they haven't determined the cause of the fire, so it could be a multitude of things, but it sparked a fire. The winds were ferocious, absolutely ferocious, and very much like the Paradise fires in California and the Napa fires. I mean, wind is a ferocious enemy because of how fast fire moves with high winds like that. And it just swept through this town of Lahaina, this small town of Lahaina. That
something like a mile a minute, I believe I read. Yeah.
And it's just devastating how fast it moved and burned an entire town.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. So recovery. How is, because this is physically devastating, mentally devastating, all the way around. I mean, mind, body, soul. What is the sentiment of the community? How's everybody doing? Just what's the climate and the landscape and the feeling that was once Maui?
Well, there's a lot of sadness, and we're only 2 weeks in today from it occurring, and it. But the community, all the nonprofits here, plus national organizations. I mean, we've got Samaritan's Purse, we've got World Vision, we have the National Guard, we have Red Cross. I mean, we have so many national organizations that have come in, and, come in immediately. I mean, I've never seen so many people come together so fast, and I have been through this. And so I just want the world to know, I don't know what you're seeing on the media, but so many organizations from all over our nation have come here to help us. And all of our nonprofits here have stepped up, and our entire community has stepped up. Everybody's helping each other. I mean, people are housing their friends. People are housing people they don't know. I mean, everybody stepped up and took everyone in, and we got everyone out of the shelters. I mean, on Monday.
No one, 2 weeks later, there's not one in shelter.
No. And if they are in shelters, they choose to be there, but we have places for everyone.
Wow.
And, our foundation, we created a resource group with human resources, with our patient experience department and with our supplies department. And we have this little employee resource group that we meet daily. And we took care of our caregivers. We have 29 caregivers and 31 caregivers, because we have a few physicians that we've added that we've adopted, even though we don't employ them. We've adopted our physicians that, have privileges here at the hospital. So we have taken on finding them temporary housing, and they've all been housed. We did that within the first week of it happening. I called our donors up who, we have a lot of seasonal, people who have seasonal houses here, and they're not back until like October, November, some December. And they opened up their homes. I mean, they allowed our caregivers to move in. And also of those caregivers, 90% of them are nurses. And so it was really important for us to get them placed, to get them into a house so that they had some sort of some peace and some rest, so they felt safe. And we have been working with them daily. We are in touch with them daily. What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? And that's really, I think a lot of organizations with their employees are doing that, like Bank of Hawaii, First Hawaiian. There's a lot of employers who had, their employees lose everything. And I think everyone is like kind of taken those people, and we're adopting them, and we're going to take care of them.
Wow. So that's an interesting, approach, and you've been through it before. So maybe you can compare and contrast what you're doing the same, differently. But I think what I'm hearing is we maybe take for granted that the caregivers that we so desperately need have lost everything too, and they're displaced, and they're going through crazy times, uncertain times, scary times, but yet we need them. So we have to take care of them so that chain, isn't broken. I mean, you and I were speaking actually before we started this interview, and we stopped for a moment because you did get that text from a nurse who is not asking, who lost everything and is not asking for a single thing for herself. She wants a stethoscope so that she could continue to care for others. I mean, that's just a different level to wrap your head and mind around. But I think that's what you're trying to do, right? Well, you're probably trying to do a million things, but you're trying to mobilize the caregivers and take care of them so that it could go on. Is that where we're at right now?
That is exactly right, Tom.
Okay.
We are taking care of them. We have, we want to take care of them emotionally too. We flew in counselors, and they're available 24/7. They're here. We've housed them in hotels, because it's not just our caregivers, that were displaced, but our caregivers who are in the ER and the ICU, and they're dealing with burn victims and all the people that have come in for help. And, we have a mobile medical clinic up on the west side, and, we have caregivers rotating up there and taking care of all the community that's housed in all of the resorts up there. And, the resorts have been huge. The resorts on the west side and some in Wailea have have opened up their rooms to place all of these displaced community. And so we've opened up a mobile clinic up on the west side. Last week we did, and taking, because they don't want to come here. They're fearful to come to this side of the island because they're afraid they won't get back. And so we're taking healthcare to them and providing healthcare to them. But, there's many who need emotional care because of what they're seeing. You just step in to take care of the people that are closest to you and that you work for, and your whole community. I mean, we're taking care of our whole community, but we want to keep our nurses here too. I mean, that is also a drive because we have a nursing shortage on Maui.
You already had a nursing shortage before the wildfires, and that is a fear of
it. We don't want to lose them. And these are people who've been here their whole lives. I mean, some of them are generation after generation that have lived here, and the homes that they have lost, they've had in their family for many generations, and that is all gone. I mean, their grandparents, their great grandparents own them. It's very generational living here. And you have many families who live together. You have grandparents and parents and kids and grandkids, all live under one roof. That is a very common thing here in Hawaii, because that is the culture. Mm-hmm. And, it wasn't just our caregiver that lost her home. It was many of her family members who live in that home, parents, grandparents, kids that also lost their home. So it's devastating. It's devastating.
Yet we need them to care for other people. I mean, it's just, oh my gosh, remarkable.
Yes, and some of them are already back to work, which is absolutely amazing that
really
they're already coming back to work. Yeah, I think caregivers, nurses and physicians, that's the way they're built, to take care of people. Even when I was in Napa, those that lost their house, they came in, but knowing they've lost their house, they came in like the day after to take care of our community, because that's the way that a lot of them
in their blood. It's the way they think. Yeah. Wow. Remarkable. So we touched on this a little bit, but how's the community responding? And how do you prioritize efforts? I can't imagine what you do first, but how do you mobilize people, prioritize efforts, and then get the community to rally and respond? I know that's a loaded question, but yeah.
And I do think it takes time too, especially when you have, but I think it's a short amount of time. I mean, we're mobilized, and
in 2 weeks.
And I think people expected it, people who haven't been through it can't, they can't expect it to happen overnight, because it doesn't happen overnight. And especially living on an island, to get the people here, the resources here, finding them places to stay, like the National Guard, like the Red Cross, like FEMA, they're all here. There's World Vision, there's a lot of Samaritan's Purse. They're all here. And they're up and running. And it took us, a little bit of time, but there's an emergency. The county, has an emergency management meeting, and one of our emergency management director goes to that meeting. And then we have an emergency management meeting every morning. And so that's how you bring people together, is the county really is the one for a natural disaster that is in charge of emergency management. With COVID, we were in charge, so we don't want to go back to COVID. But so the county really has taken charge of that, and we're part of that emergency management, and they have really come together. I mean, to have everyone out of shelters in less than a week is pretty spectacular. I mean, I don't know if you could do that in other places, because we have resorts here, and, I don't know, on the mainland, you're so spread out, you could go somewhere to drive to a family member's or, something like that. But it's very different here because It's an island.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Where are you
but
going?
the resorts and a lot of the Airbnbs stepped up. A lot of the Airbnbs stepped up. So we own 2 Airbnbs, and we have 2 nurse families living in our Airbnbs right now. So that also happened, which was really good.
Let's talk a little bit about the Maui Health Foundation before the wildfires and how and also after, how it's pivoted. Generally speaking, what was your mission, or what is your mission, and how has that changed in the last couple of weeks?
Well, our mission is to engage our community, which we are, and the visitors, and support our hospitals. So we have 3 hospitals. We have our acute care hospital, which is Maui Memorial, which is where most of us are here. And then we have a hospital upcountry in Kula called Kula Hospital. And then we have a community hospital on the island of Lanai, which is part of Maui County, which is Lanai Community Hospital. They're both, the Kula Hospital and the Lanai Community Hospital are both very, very small hospitals. And they're not acute care. So everybody with acute care gets transferred to Maui Memorial here on the island. But our job is to raise money to, deliver the highest level of healthcare and patient-centered healthcare to our community. And, before this, we actually are embarking, and we continue to embark on, we are going to build healthcare housing. We were gifted 16 lots from the county, housing lots, and we have found a developer, and we are going to build healthcare housing for our healthcare employees so that we can be part of the solution with the housing, not having housing and not getting, the resources we need for nurses and techs, finding places to live here. It's very difficult even to rent here. There's not many rentals, and there's not much real estate inventory here. So we are trying to find other solutions. And so we're going to build houses. And they will be for healthcare workers. So that is still a goal. We actually have multiple meetings this week because it's moving it more than ever. We need it. And we're going to try to build them faster than we were planning so that we can get some of our healthcare workers in these homes.
So that kind of integrated and is actually part of the recovery plan now.
Yes.
Speed things up and get it all moving. So how have you pivoted? I believe you're doing a lot of fundraising for the caregivers right now as one of your pivotal missions. How is that going? What do you need? Talk to us. Tell us what you need. We want to hear it.
We need more financial support, and we have raised a good amount of money, through about a little over $300,000. But my goal is $1 million so that we can really take care of these caregivers for at least a year. And the reason I say that is because I know from friends losing their homes in Napa that insurance companies take a long time to pay. You still have to pay your mortgage. You need to rent somewhere. So you're going to have a rental, a monthly rental fee, and rents are very, very high here. A 1-bedroom apartment, Ohana, rents for $2,500 here. So you can imagine, the financial hardship that many of these caregivers are going to be going through. And so we would like, as a foundation, to be able to supplement and help for at least a year, because it takes about that time with some, if not most, insurances to settle. And we don't want them to have stress upon stress upon stress. So that's
collections and bankruptcy and all of that on top of what you're already going through.
They lost their cars.
Yeah.
So now they have to go buy a new car or lease a new car. And so they're going to have that expense until, they can get, help from their insurance. And not all insurances pay what everything's worth or what it's going to cost to rebuild. They just don't. So,
so we need some match programs. We need some corporate sponsors to step up. I know you have an online giving campaign. We're going to get all of this in the show notes, so nobody has to take notes. I'm going to drop links and all of those good things. But if anyone's hearing this, so we have at least another 700,000 to go, and we need it quickly. How else can people contribute financially? And then we'll talk about what else you need. But so I would assume some match programs with some corporate sponsors, with online giving. Where else can funds be directed?
Well, for instance, with one of our nurses, just in conversation with her, because we're keeping them very informed of all the things that they need to do with FEMA and what's available to them. Red Cross and other nonprofit organizations like United Way are also helping, and there's opportunity for them to apply for funding there as well. It's minimal, but it's some money. It will help them. And she said, I don't have a laptop. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they've lost their computers and their laptops. So my friend who works at Simi Valley Hospital, Adventist Health, she called and she asked, what can you do? What can I do? And I said, we need laptops. Could you donate laptops? And Adventist Health came here yesterday. Their mission lead person from their national office, and they showed up with 29 laptops, brand new laptops. And it was a beautiful time together. We spent like 2 hours with them. They brought a few other people with them, and some of our caregivers came, like half of our caregivers came who lost their homes, and we had a great interaction. And they have a laptop now to fill out all these forms, because FEMA, you can only fill it out online. You can't use
there
your
you
phone.
go.
So
right, you've lost absolutely everything, but go online and fill out the forms.
Fill out the forms. Yeah. So that, and we had FIGS from the mainland donate 2,000 scrubs because they lost all their scrubs. And, when you think about nurses, they need, they don't do wash every day. So they need scrubs for every day they work of the week. So that they donated enough so that we can help the other clinics. There's other medical clinics in our community and physician offices, and we're actually going to help all the employees that lost everything in the fire. We're going to replace their scrubs for them as well. So there's different things like that.
Basic necessities, electronics, and we're not talking gaming. We're talking like laptops and devices to communicate and those sorts of things, stethoscopes, any kind of, aid like that, and scrubs, clothing. Let's do a quick little list of what else you're trying to gather.
I think I'm just learning it as we go of what they need. And, they're displaced right now in someone's home. So the need changes as we move forward. So like when we're now going to be trying to find permanent rentals for them. And so they're going to need, clothing's a big thing. They lost all their clothes and the scrubs, and they're going to need the basic things that we use every day. Any gift card, Starbucks, Target, Walmart, Costco, all of those things would work because they don't have anything. They've lost everything. Yeah. Nobody had time to fill a suitcase up and leave. They literally ran to their cars, got in, and got out of there. And They cannot bring anything with them. Yeah.
So where are we directing all of these donations to? If somebody is hearing this, well, financially, there's an online website, right? So we can drop that link into the show notes. But if somebody wanted to arrange, a larger donation or a corporate match program, sounds like that would really be helpful right now. Or any of these donations that we're talking about of physical goods, how do we get them to you?
So, I mean, there you go to Maui Health Foundation, and there is an employee assistance fund, or you can call us. Are you going to provide that number? Or should I provide that number?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead. We can.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
So,
but I'll put it in the notes as well.
Okay. So you can call us at 808-442-5656. That's actually my direct line. But you know what? I'm just going to give you my personal cell.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, because I'm running around most of the time, and you can even text me on this cell and just say, hey, this is so-and-so from, we would love to help. Can you call? If I don't answer the phone, because I have a meeting after this,
Okay.
the resource meeting after this. But my personal cell is 707-227-8399. And that is, of course, my Napa, California number, but I've had it since cell phones existed. I'm not changing my number.
To text you.
Yes. Yeah.
What's the biggest challenge that you're having right now? What's the immediate challenge?
The biggest challenge is finding permanent housing for them, because, I started reaching out to all of our real estate agents and that I know, and then actually the real estate association, everybody's asking for permanent housing. And I've called a few places, and they said, here's the application, but just so you know, I've got 50 applications that they have to go through, because it's not just our caregivers, it's 4,000 people that are going to be looking for homes. Yeah. And so that's why it is so important for us to try to speed up the process to build.
Going back to your original mission.
Yes. Yep. And we are hoping and praying that we can get some more lots, because there are additional lots. But I think they want to see how we do with these lots. But as soon as our developer said they can build these within a 12 to 18 month period. So
still a long time when you have no place to go. Yeah.
But it's going to be longer even in Lahaina. I mean, that's the thing is to find permanent housing, we're going to need permanent housing for several years before, Lahaina can start being rebuilt. So because they've got to clear, it's going to take a year at least to clear all the debris and the toxic debris that's there, and to grade the ground, whatever they need to do. I don't understand all that, but it will take a year, if not longer, to do all of that, because it's an entire town.
Time's the enemy right now.
Yeah. Right.
But staying on your original mission, not that your mission has changed, but of course you have to pivot right now and address some other things, but it all goes back to that, original need, keeping, all of the resources and the caring and the supplies for your caregivers in place so that they could care for everyone else. And it's in the thousands, and we need help. Raise Nation, yes. I know you're listening. Please, we really need help, and we need to get it to Maui right away. So I hope somebody's listening and brings you some good fortune. I want to wish you all the best. I know we need to let you get back because you have so much to do and so much to prioritize. What is your outlook though for the future? I mean, how are you feeling about, how's your positivity, if you can, for the future?
I am hopeful, and I think this is bringing us together, and I think that we will rebuild, and I think you have. It's hard right now to think about that, because we're still in a traumatic place, and there's been a lot of loss. I mean, some of our caregivers lost their family members in the fire. So there's a lot of emotion. And as we find out, day by day who passed away, it's just heartbreaking. And but I know we will rebuild, and we're strong. This island is very strong, and I do have a good outlook. It's going to take time to do, but and we're going to build those houses. We're going to get more lots. We're going to build more houses. We're going to get the caregivers here. We're going to keep the ones here that, this is where they were born and raised, and this is their life.
And this is where they're going to stay. Yeah. We're going to keep them there. Yeah.
Yes. So I have a good outlook. And I just want to say one last thing.
Please.
It, not just with this tragedy, just, because there's things that happen across our nation. And I think it is crucial to remember that even the small acts of kindness can make a significant difference in someone's life. Whether it's just offering a listening ear or providing a meal or getting groceries for them, or just simply encouraging them with words. It's just every gesture counts when it comes to supporting those who are going through difficult times, and just sending messages of love, of encouragement are really important. And collectively, as individuals and a community, we have the power to bring hope and comfort, into the lives of affected families and friends. And you do where you are today. I hope you never experience anything like this, but we all do have tragedies that happen in our life or to someone that we know. And we can demonstrate, compassion by just contributing our resources and lending our support whenever possible.
Whatever it is that you could lend. Well, I think 5 years ago, the stars were aligning to make sure that Melinda was in the right place for this time. They're very lucky to have you. And I believe that if you put it out in the universe, it'll happen. So thank you for saying that you are going to rebuild, and you're going to do 16 lots and then another 16. And the world is watching, and the world is sending you their prayers and good wishes.
Thank
and
you.
Hopefully after this podcast, we'll be sending some, good fortune as well to help. We know the ways to help, certainly financially, corporate sponsors, basic necessities, permanent housing, and check it out in the show notes and at Maui Health Foundation. Fearless Fundraisers. It's a difficult topic today, but important that we talk about it and we get communities to rally. That is all the time we have for. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed. I don't want to say enjoy, but we hope that you needed to hear today's Raise Nation topic in your move to make a difference. Please tune in for a new episode release every Thursday at 12:30 p.m. That's Thursdays, 12:30 p.m. In the meantime, listen to all the episodes on Raise Nation Radio. Follow the channel that you like best. We stream everywhere, and then you'll get the notifications about all our new guests. I'd like to thank our sponsor, One Cause, for making this episode possible. One Cause is driving the future of fundraising with easy-to-use digital fundraising solutions that help nonprofits connect with donors. Check it out at onecause.com. Visit the resource tab for a free catalog of content, ebooks, vlogs, blogs that hopefully that you'll find helpful to your fundraising efforts. A shout out and thanks and gratitude to my guest, Melinda Sweany, Chief Development Officer at Maui Health Foundation, who has incredible work ahead of her. Would love to check back in with you, see how you're doing. All in the show notes. We'll have ways to help and to get involved, especially if you're a corporate sponsor. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're super busy, probably going morning, noon, and night in the middle of the night. I know because as we started talking, you just got random texts and I saw you respond, and that's pretty remarkable. Thank you for everything that you're doing. Yes. We wish you the best of luck, prayers and good wishes to you. Any last words of inspiration for the people in Maui and for all your caregivers that you want to share?
Just be kind to one another. As I shared earlier, I think it's just really important to show compassion to one another and to love one another and to serve and help one another. So thank you, Dawn, for allowing me the time to be able to share. And this itself is healing, and for me to be able to share. And much aloha to you and to everyone who's listening.
Well, prayers for your strength and perseverance. And we'll check back in with you. All our best wishes for everyone in Maui. Thank you again so much. Until next time, I'm Dawn Lego. This is Raise Nation Radio. You stay fearless out there.